Hey everybody, it's your boy, Mr. B. I'm just going over the elephant in the room, which is Bellwork. A lot of students usually ask this every year is what do we do with this nonsense? So if you open up your Bellwork, what you're going to see is a lot of reading, 1 to 3 paragraphs of walls of text, and then a lot of writing where you'll have to fill in this Bellwork. The good news is all of your core classes should be going over the trees mnemonic with you. That's thesis topic, reasoning, evidence, elaborate, and summary. So they should be consistent across all of your classes. The bad news is you do have to do this. So let's talk about a strategy. I'm going to model doing this for you. Of course, I'm not going to be doing it on this Tesla reading, as that would be doing your work for you. So let's switch over to a different reading I've prepared for myself. The first thing I'm going to do is look at what I'm being asked to do. I know this may seem counterintuitive and like sacrilege to everything teachers have told you is read the reading first. This can be overwhelming since there is a wall of text here. If you try to read all of it and process all of it, remember all of it, and then go to answer something. Instead, let's look at the question. We're asked to write a shortened thesis or topic sentence. So first we need to figure out what our topic sentence is. Now, you guys should each have a copy of your own Bellwork in Google Classroom, but I don't. So let me make a copy of that real quick. If you're unaware of how to do that, we're just going to go to File, Make a Copy. When you name things for submission, please name them with at least your first letter of your first name and your last name so I know who to give credit to. I could also call this Fairplay if I like to. I need to first figure out what my thesis or topic sentence is. So I'm going to start reading, and I'm looking for, well, what am I looking for? Let's figure that out. If you don't remember what a topic sentence is or a thesis, we can Google that for you. So Google is a good resource, not a perfect resource, but if we forget something, this is a good, easy way to access definitions. So a thesis statement usually appears at the conclusion of the introductory paragraph of a paper. This is the important part. It offers a concise summary of the main point or claim of the essay reached. It is usually expressed in one sentence, and the statement may be reiterated elsewhere. Okay, so we're looking for a concise summary of the main point or claim of the paragraphs. Let's go back to reading. So now that we know that we're looking for a single sentence that gives us the main idea of the reading, we're going to go through and read this. Land now known as Gaza, a 140 square mile Mediterranean coastline containing Islamic and Jewish religious sites, has been fought over from time to time for centuries. But modern conflict over the region dates to 1948. The region had for centuries been home to a Muslim Arab majority and a small Jewish minority. But during the Holocaust, the Jewish population grew sharply. In 1947, a newly formed United Nations approved a plan to partition the region into a Jewish and an Arab state. On May 14, 1948, on the day of Britain's departure from the Israel-Gaza region, Zionist groups declared Israel a Jewish state. The first Arab-Israeli war broke out the next day. 750,000 Palestinians fled or were expelled from their homes in the land that became Israel during 1948, during a period they call the catastrophe. So keep that in our mind, and I'm just going to read the first sentences of the other paragraphs. Acutely aware of their vulnerable position, the memory of the Holocaust still fresh, Israel built a powerful and well-organized military. Paragraph 2. In Gaza today, more than 1 million Palestinian refugees are living under Israeli rule. An estimated 80% rely on aid, and over 500,000 live in refugee camps. Okay, so what was the common thread we saw? Because we have a few possibilities for our topic sentence. So the reading opened with just telling us what Gaza was. So modern conflict. Well, that doesn't tell us who or what is going on. Okay, so Muslim Arab majority and a small Jewish minority. Holocaust. This doesn't seem like it's about the Holocaust. It seems like it's about the time period after. So this is just the setup. On May 14th, 1948, Britain departed from the Israel-Gaza region. Israel a Jewish state. Okay, well, that's true, but it doesn't bring in anything about the refugees of the Palestinians. Finally, the first Arab-Israeli war broke out the next day. 750,000 Palestinians fled or were expelled from their homes, and the land became Israel during 1948, during a period they call the catastrophe. The or if we don't know what catastrophe is, we can Google that, but it's something awful that happened, a very large monumental event that is very unfortunate for a group of people. So this seems like what's connecting everything, since This involves Palestinian refugees, as well as a land becoming known as Israel, and something unfortunate happening, which ties into Israel building a powerful, well-organized military, as well as the 1 million Palestinian refugees. So this seems like our topic sentence. This is write a shortened thesis topic sentence. If I just copy and paste this, Mr. B is not going to give me credit because that's plagiarism. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a reference, and we're going to write our own shortened version of it. Do we need to know the number? No. Many Palestinians, and we can use Arab Muslims, a synonym, or explain what that word means since the reader may not know. And we're remembering to always write with a reader in mind. So we're trying to condense this. The reader needs to know what we're talking about. So they were expelled from their homes and the land became known as Israel. Were kicked out of Israel in 1948, a time when what happened? So the catastrophe, how can we explain that? Well, border skirmishes, attacks, a war, Palestinians fought back, Palestinian Israeli troops, a time when Palestinians and Israelis would time when, how about that would mark the beginning of decades long conflict between version of what we believe is the thesis or topic sentence here. So we're going to ensure that this matches up. This is the author's version. Palestinians fled or were expelled during 1948 during the catastrophe. Here's ours. Many Palestinians, Arab Muslims, were kicked out of Israel in 1948 and marked the beginning of a decades-long conflict between Palestinians and Israelis. So those seem synonymous, and obviously I'm using my own words rather than the author's. So this will be my submission, Mr. B. Now, if for whatever reason I had plagiarized or my thesis was incorrect, I chose the wrong sentence, then I might see comments here. I'll usually post those in red. So Mr. B may say, please re-attempt. You have topic sentence. Of course, we had the right topic sentence, so let's go ahead and skip that part. Now you can receive up to 5 points every day. So if we did well, Mr. B will probably just tell us we got 5. If we were wrong but wrote well, we might get a 2 or a 3 out of 3. Now you'll notice if every day we were wrong but wrote well, we could still get a 3 times 5 is 15 out of 15, full credit. Of course, we identified the topic sentence correctly and wrote well, so we'll get a 5 out of 5, well, 5 out of 3. And if we were to get a 5 every day, we'd get 5 times 5, 25 out of 15, so extra credit. Now, it won't show up in Classroom because I cannot give you 25 out of 15 points on Classroom. But when I go to put this in Infinite Campus, I'll make sure I include the extra credit, as that does allow me to include extra credit.